Hi, my name is Vamshi and welcome to
Hi,
Dr.
Vamshi.
Tiger.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk about several things including your journey, personal, family as well as Tata as a brand.
Okay.
So can you tell me a bit about your childhood? Where were you born? Education?
So I was born in Jaipur, and I've practically bulk part of my education happened, schooling happened in Delhi.
Hmm.
Then I did my engineering in Rajasthan, and then went on to do my MBA at Canada, Montreal. And then always wanted to join a good industrial group. Tata's was always a fancy for me, and 91, 92 was also the year when India was opening up and liberalization was on, and so I also got caught in that wind and had very good, let's say, response from Indian companies at that point in time when I wrote to them from Canada. And chose to work in Tata Steel, a group which I admire a lot, and have been here since.
It's quite a long journey, 25, 26 years.
Close to 25 years, running in the 25th year now.
So what values inspired you then? What pulled you to Tata? I'm sure from Canada you would have several offers, several options to work out from there.
Yeah, so actually there are clearly two things. One, your question itself has an answer, value system. So there are certain values which you are born with, and there are certain values which you get from the family, and that's what your teachers and your parents teach you. And this is a company which truly adheres to those values, and you can practice those values, and you will never be told at any point in time. You will never feel at any point in time that those values or any one of which needs to be sacrificed, and you can reach the heights without sacrificing any of the values. So that's one big reason. So you can be what you are. And the second thing which attracted me, or which is always, and which is what I felt also, this is perhaps the only company where you could be what you can be. You would never be told on the basis of your caste, color, or anything like that, that you cannot reach out to that place. So whatever you could be, if your capabilities and your skill sets and your competencies take you, you can be in this company. And that's what, that was actually the only perhaps the reason why I didn't want to stay on, because skin continues to be one glass ceiling which is not yet fully broken in North America. And it was quite prominent in 91, 92, because you would not see any of the Indian guys as the CEOs in any of the American companies. So I did not have the vision to see that what will happen in 2020, 30 years from now. And some things have changed for better in North America as well, and Indians have so-called invaded the world. But for us, actually, at that point in time, for me, it was a very strong influence. And I'm not regretted even for a single day or minute.
You have handled Tata brand across the world, like Singapore, Thailand,
Thailand, direct handling, and indirect handling through exports and international business, which I handled. It was more of a Tata brand and Tata Steel brand, because we did not get into product brands in the first part of the last decade, which is 91 to 2000, when I was part of international business. But then later on, when we introduced product brands, I did manage to, let's say, handle a brand in Thailand when I ran the operations as president and CEO.
As a brand that is over a century old, Tata,
Yes.
what values do we take, both from Indian perspective as well as from Tata, when you go abroad as a marketing and branding strategy guy? I see a lot of books of strategy on your table.
Yeah.
What do you convey there when we go?
So see, the basic tenet of Tata brand in the country, where trust is a deficit, has been that in a fragmented market, in an unorganized market, in a market wherein you do not trust the seller, and seller could be a retailer, could be a distributor, could be a shopkeeper, could be a company, and there is always a worry in the mind of a consumer or a customer. Tata stands above all. So if you are dealing with Tatas, and if you're dealing with a Tata Steel as a company or a Tata product as a brand, you at least have full trust on that. And so wherever we have realized that the market had this problem and deficiency, Tata Steel or Tatas have stood very well. Tata Steel story has been like that. In many ways, number of times we have heard it from are large customers that they would like to deal with Tata Steel because you almost act as a cleanser to the system. They know that we are above board everything. You don't get fired by buying Tata Steel product. It is almost akin to what IBM used to say, or IBM customers used to say, that you never get fired on buying IBM computer. So Tata Steel also has been like that. In the retail space and distribution products, it was a huge changer, a game changer for us. Because as consumers, people like you and I, whenever we wanted to build a house and buy a steel product, we did not know from where to buy from. And that's where the shopkeeper had a big role to play. And trust was the deficit. Tata Steel changed all that by introducing those product brands which had Tata name attached to it. So if you are a shopkeeper selling Tata Tiscon product in an authorized shop with appropriate practices for dealing with people, handling customers and the source, and dealing with also the government agencies in an appropriate manner, it means a lot to a consumer. And that is the philosophy and the tenet which we've also taken into Southeast Asia. So after we acquired this company in Thailand, it used to have another brand. After that brand period was over, we took a decision in 2011 to launch the product of Tata Tiscon. So today Tata Tiscon is the largest selling rebar brand in Thailand. It is also the largest selling brand in Singapore. And put together, we have a very large Tata Tiscon Southeast Asia play. And since it is touching these two markets, now we are getting into Malaysia, touching Hong Kong as well. We did get into China in a little way, but essentially Southeast Asia is the place where we are expanding. We are present in some way through solutions which we sell, and in some way as the basic product. But it has been a very exhilarating journey that way, to as a person who has been dealing with Tata Steel products and a brand, to extend it beyond the boundaries of the country. And it was very, it was much less challenging than we all thought. Let me put it this way. We had more trepidation about what will happen, and we'll have to pour in a lot of dollars for above the line advertising. Why would anybody buy Tata Tiscon? Who would have heard it in Southeast Asia? That was indeed not the case. Tata's is a very well known overall corporate brand and recognized, and actually internet and associated digital services have actually helped the cause. If we were to do this in early 80s and 90s, I think we will really have to pour many dollars to get Tata Tiscon very well known.
As a someone who is joining just now Tata, or for the consumer, the final consumer who doesn't know anything about the product per se, I see that you are taking a lot of digital activities to educate them.
Yes.
If there is one line that you would tell them, like it started trust, so like that's, is there something that you want to tell them? One line that you want to communicate the entire story of Tata Tiscon.
So I can tell a story, one line story of for steel first of all.
Okay.
You cannot live this life without using steel. So you cannot take steel out of your life. If you so just as we cannot take oxygen out of your life, so you cannot take steel out of your life if you happen to live in a country like India. More so in a country like India, because we still have 30 to 40 more years before we can be called as a proper developed country with appropriate let's say facade of buildings and usage of structures which truly give safety and security and sense of prosperity to citizens of the country. And so if you want to make a career, certainly a steel business is a good business. And if you are a possible consumer of a material, it is by far the most used material in the world, only because it is less damaging to the environment. It can be given myriad shapes, it can be influenced in many ways. It is available both for external as well as internal usage. So it is not a product which you can be shy of, and it is available actually at very attractive prices. So why would you not want to use a steel as a consumer? Because you just can't live this life without using steel.
Any branding lessons in the last 25-30 years?
I think the only branding lesson which I have, and I continue to learn on this, is that as marketeers, as commercial teams, we have not really taken the pains to market steel or educate the customer. We have to recognize that steel is not so much visible when you are buying when you are using the products made out of steel. So in some cases steel is visible, like in a car or in a refrigerator or a washing machine. But you don't make the decision to purchase a car or a washing machine on the basis of steel. You do it on the basis of the look and the design and the styling and the other technical features which go with the product. And there are other areas wherein you perhaps can be making a decision based on the steel, which is like a house, because it gives you the skeleton. This is a skeleton. Steel is inside and you do not see it. So you will get influenced by a house which has got better looking tiles or sanitary fittings or paint color, but you will not choose a house which has got Tata Tiscon inside. Perhaps that is the place where we have to do some more work in. So important part of the branding lesson which we have, which is what we have taken for the last 25 years or 10 years, 15 years, is you have to talk to consumer. And unless your brand is seen and you are talking to the consumer to make it relevant, it is not going to have any traction. Just by telling the name is not enough. So if you ask anybody whether he is a user or not a user of steel and ask them, tell me the name of a steel company, 9 out of 10 guys will say Tata Steel. But that's it. So that is not the work of a branding professional, to only make Tata Steel known. How will Tata Steel influence the life of a consumer and how is it relevant to the life of a consumer is the job, and that's the gap which we have. So that is the gap which we are at it to bridge the last 15 years. And I think the journey is, I can't even say half complete, because the full spectrum is not yet known.
10 years from now, you will have competitors also doing the same thing who are into digital space. May not be the same quality, but they'll also flood influence. How do you differentiate Tata from 10 years from now?
So we are cognizant of it, and we also feel that in many ways it has happened in other categories, wherein first of all technology is a differentiator, and technology becomes a level resource which is available to everybody. Product is a differentiator, then it becomes a common thing which is there with everybody, and then it comes to delivery of services. Sometimes services also can copy, and then you have to move on to perhaps solutions. So we have seen that journey transact. So we were the first ones in the country to invest in technology. We were the first ones to come up with so-called thermomechanical treatment of rebars, better than the commercially twisted rebars on the product. First ones to introduce various things on the product, like megapascals, and educating the customer on ill effects of sulfur and phosphorus. So that's all product related improvements and branding work. Then the second thing on the services was to sell by piece to the authorized shops, creating them, giving them right price with right time and in the right payment by giving them the right length. And the third journey has been through solutions, which is why do you have to spend time to stitch up a rebar into making a structure? You can actually get a stitched rebar, which is what the whole super links concept is. So it's about working with the ecosystem who is involved in usage of steel. So a consumer is not directly touching steel. There are masons, there are mistris who are doing that. How do you get that unorganized set into the overall improvement and engagement circle to do solutions for you? So this whole peeling of onion, if I may call, continues, and any awakened company will have to peel this onion every 2 or 3 years, in some space every year perhaps. We are very fortunate that there is digital on our side, because we have chosen, I personally feel that digital has been a great supporter, a great aid and tool which is available to us to reach out to this mass of 1.2 billion people, of which X% is our potential customer set. We have done the hard way, which is to map the entire country. We are present in every district of the country. We have over 10,000 shops. You are only 7 to 10 kilometers away from any steel shop selling Tata Tiscon or Tata Steel product. That is done by very, very assiduously over the last 15 years. But digital is actually further allowing us to reach out and to communicate to the consumers. So many of the things which we are doing now are the things which others will have to do perhaps after they have done the basic infrastructure in place. So if I were to, any thinking in organization has to invest in hardware, has to invest in software, and has to invest in people. The hardware part we have done, and others are now beginning to do up. So that's the catching up game which they have to do, because you cannot promise a consumer in Tirupur that I will deliver the steel to you when you don't have a shop. The second part of the software is what we have been investing in for last 15 years, which is the soft skills and doing various things related to services and making sure the product is also bundled along with service. And the third one is on the people skills, how to create an organization which attracts truly the top talent of top-notch marketeers in the field of touching consumers and customers. So as long as you're working on these three triangle points and pushing the envelope on all the 3 points,
you're leading.
You will be leading. Whether the gap is 3 years or 5 years or 10 years, that's a matter of nuance. Because as long as you are able to reinvent yourself every year rather than every 5 years, you will maintain that gap.
So going to personal life, tell me about your family. I see your son and your daughter's pictures there. So tell me about your family.
I'm married to my job, I work for my family. That's what people tell me, that is what I'm known for. So that's what I am. I'm married to my job, I work for my family.
Any book that is on your table now?
But I have, of course, 2 wonderful children, and it's great to see them grow and have their points of view. And Thailand posting actually changed my son dramatically, and so he's a much more free thinker. And my daughter is very fond of doing many other things, and they like being part of this world, and they enjoy the newness which the world is offering only because of the better connectivity. So it's great to see them connected with the world through their friends and other things, and they are not dependent on parents. I think one major difference between their childhood and my childhood is I was very much dependent on my parents for all my enjoyment and recreation and excitement and so many other things. For any fancy food which I want to have, I was dependent on my parents. They are not dependent on me. They are not dependent on my wife as well. So they are free to experience the entertainment as well as best of the foods, because luckily everything is available on phone call away and internet away. So that's the best part, to see them grow without having any innovation or even asking. But freedom is, and which actually allows them to experience new things, is the best part.
I see that you're a voracious reader. Any book that's on your table now?
So I read multiple things. I don't read a book at a time. I read multiple things related to management, related to newer things which the world is going through. I'm very fond of gadgets. I read about gadgets. Very fond of editorial comments which come in any newspaper. So I read 2 or 3 newspapers a day, which is a good, happy habit which I have for many years. There's a book on strategy, how to kill the thoughts around what not to do with a brand, and how not to fall in love with a brand, and the emotional drivel which you go through if you are too much fond of a brand, and therefore you lose value over a period of time. How to avoid that trap. So there are many related articles and books which I read, but I read many things at the same time. Difficult to manage with the schedule which I have, but yet I do. Yeah.
Last and final question. Anyone message, any quote that you remember? Any motto?
So that there is an emotional side to me which I connect more and more with people, and that's my again personal belief in the way I deal with people, that people don't care how much you know, they just want to know how much you care, and if you practice it and truly honestly, it sets you very well, and it keeps you in good stead, and it will show in the way you deal with them, it will show in the way you deal the business with them, it will show in the way you deal with customers and suppliers or large partners whom we have. It's gone with this whole notion that we know everything and others will look up to us, is long dismissed, and more you source, more you crowdsource, and more you work well, but for that people have to actually know that you care, and you care for their well-being, and that has been say one of the driving features the way I deal with people for few years.
Thank you for taking your time. Thank you for telling.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Tiger.
Thank you.